It's snowing again. The only horse out, hanging out in the snow, is my desert horse. My little Arabian, who looks like you've got a little bit of hay right there. There you go, Grumpy. Just hanging out. Here comes Roni. And she's got to make a move. Which way shall she go? That way. All he's done is come up on her butt. Good morning, you two. It's snowing, you guys. Yeah, snowing again. Remember back, oh, I don't know, 5 or 6 videos ago maybe, and I said something along the lines of, I really like it, you know, but there's going to be a point where I'm not going to like it. It sure looks nice though. Looks nice now, you know. I imagine maybe in a day or two I'll start thinking, I wish this would go away. Well, I've reached that point. It's a lot of work taking care of horses when it's snowing or snows on the ground. Here's our new guy. He's doing really well. And you know, you just start to think, make this stuff just sort of clear away. At least out of the areas that I want to use. Anything else, I don't care. I don't care about driving. I know other people do. So, whatever. Anyways, horsey check. Haven't done this in a little while with you guys. Keep getting snow landing on me. It was a little bit tinier flakes earlier, but here's Lena, also another horse that loves the snow. Hi, Lena. Making a big pile in the corner, eh? You're so neat and tidy. Okay, let me come back to you. She's waiting for some scratches, as usual. And then Luke, he's the other horse that's hanging out in the snow. What are you doing in the corner? Put Luke back here with Peggy. There was something that was going on back there somewhere. It was freaking him out. So Jen moved him into here, and then Lena's over in the other one. Hey pal, just getting a little snow shower figured out, or what's your dealio? Scritchy scratch, scritchy scratch. Zeus is nugget hunting. Yay. Anyways, the biggest problem that I've just discovered, not like just now, but within this last week, is that all the snow that falls off to here is landing in here, and it makes it very difficult to get through here, because we got to get through here to get to where the poop is to be dumped, and so it's a pain. Looks like Hay's doing pretty good. Piggy's doing great. That's good. But yeah, so when this snow falls off, which we hadn't really, or I hadn't really sort of thought about, and you can still see there's a bit up there. See that shadow there? But a lot of it's been falling off and making big huge piles, but it's really in the way. And then because it ices over, we had some rain and then it got cold, so everything's pretty crunchy for ice. Oh, we were gonna go see Lena. Anyhow, so yeah, it's a real pain. You really gotta keep up with sort of clearing pathways. I don't know, it's not supposed to snow that much today. Hi Lena, this stuff is really getting to me. How come it doesn't get to you? Gets in my eyeballs. Hello, big girl. What do you want? Where is it? I'll just put my hand and you land on it. Right there. Nope. The other side? I'll scratch if you just move to where you need some scratches. Hey, quick winter tip. If your hands are cold, just stick them underneath your horse's mane. Speaking of her mane, look at how long it's getting. That's really long. Oh, some of it's coming out. Anyhow, your hands will get super toasty warm. Hey, Lena, what is it? What are you sniffing? Are you sniffing some of the horse? I don't even know if the camera can focus in on something so close. Well, hopefully oh, you can't even touch her. You can't, look, watch, I'll just do this for a second. She's enjoying it. Ta-da! Yuck. Not really yuck, but like just, no thanks, yuck. I don't want to be free. No, I do not. You're doing pretty good for hay. Looks like it. Still got lots of water. That's what we do. Horsey check is water, food, how many poops, and then, you know, are they happy to see me, or whoever's doing horsey check. The health of the horse will be, you know, it's important to kind of check in. I wouldn't say to micromanage them. I know a lot of people that do and get very worried. Rather than feeling very good, most people get really worried when you end up micromanaging. And instead, you know, you say, take an overall, how you doing? Yeah. Notice the stuff, but then he's scratching on his post. Oh, he stopped, because I stopped. I won't continue. Oh, whatever, man, it was cool behavior. Not a big fan of the snow at the moment. So, Springer's coming along, doing training, getting him a little more life in him. Some horses don't have a lot of life sometimes. They're just very quiet and in some cases a little bit what would be referred to as dull. You go to ask them to do something, very slow to respond. You just swallowed a snowflake. And so just trying to get him to keep thinking harder about how fast or how quickly or how much to respond, and instead of just doing the bare minimum. Okay, horsey check is done. I gotta get on with an appointment, but I'll see you guys in a little bit with the next thing that we do today. All right, where's my dog? Okay, everybody, I thought I would do a conclusion video to what was today's training session with Lena. It was an hour and a half long live stream. And again, I didn't really expect to get a really good video or audio out of it. I was hoping I would be able to kind of use it as a bit of material that, you know, you could watch and you might have some questions based on what you think you're seeing, but it actually turned out really well, and I had a lot of great questions throughout it. But mostly though, the amount of work that I had to do with Lena to get her through just being in that space with the snow sliding down and whatnot was a lot, and there's so much to talk about. I reviewed some of the footage. The camera I'm using now died partway, so I don't have any of the tarp work in there. It's all just in the live stream. So I'm linking the live stream below that was recorded by YouTube. It's pretty good quality. There's a lot of great material in there, but some things need to be talked about a little bit more. I think it's just good idea. I think there's so much material in there that without doing some kind of conclusion, I think some of the really important parts would end up being lost. That things that I'd like to communicate of what I'm doing, so that it makes sense as to why my approach is the way my approach is. So we've got 3 clips to look at that I've taken out of the footage that I did get from my good camera. So it's a lot clearer, sounds pretty good, and it should be pretty obvious. So let's talk about the first one. So I've made a bunch of notes here, so I'm going to go over these notes because I put my thoughts together as I'm watching, and it's going to make a lot of sense. So if what I'm saying, if you don't remember, or what you watch in the clip coming up doesn't make sense, just rewind, come back to this little part if you feel a little lost or curious as, well, what did you mean? Hopefully it'll make sense when you watch it, and then when you watch it, hopefully, you know, the words will connect. So, okay, so the first clip we need to talk about safety with horses. When you're training horses, it's a big deal if you're going over scary stuff. And the fact of the matter is horses are very fast, they're very powerful, and they get very scared very quick. Their reaction time is probably at least 5 to 6 times faster than what we can react. So by the time they have finished reacting to some things, you might be reacting. And I've got lots of little bits of video. I'm going to do a much more advanced version of this, I think, of the breakdown of some of these training concepts and things that I observed. And I'll stick it on the Patreon video. I think it's just, there's just so much to go over. It would take quite a bit of time to organize that. But I really want to get this out. The fact of the matter is that horses are fast. So you have to be on the ball at all times. The more you do it, the more you sort of can anticipate and be prepared for it. But always be aware that horses are very quick. And the one thing you want to do is make space between you and the horse. I can't stress this enough if you're working with horses. Make some space. Don't get them close. The closer you get, the much higher risk there is to getting stepped on, knocked over, squished into a wall, squished into another horse, kicked, bit, struck, all kinds of things. So that means you need to make sure that you've set some boundaries. And this starts with groundwork. This starts with making sure that they understand that they need to yield away from you when you ask them to. And there can be no compromise to this, none whatsoever. Out of all of the videos I show on here, and I show them for a reason when we're observing horses behave in the arena, none of them compromise their space. If you watch them, and maybe some ears will go back, and maybe Lena will tell Gracie to go away, and Gracie's still prancing around or shaking her head, it's not very long before Lena says, that's it, get out, and she'll charge, or she'll turn her butt around, and Gracie will move. And so there's no compromise there. There's no, well, you can kind of, you know, or Lena backs off a little to kind of get out of her space because she's uncomfortable. It just doesn't work that way. Horses don't think like that. So in our world, in a human, small little tiny human world that we have compared to their big massive bodies of the horses and their weight, we have to consider that we will break much easier than they will. So you have to make sure that mentally you've got that connection that just says, out of my space. So do your groundwork. And when you're doing your groundwork, start it off, you know, as calmly as possible. Don't get into an arena like that where snow is coming down and you've got a tarp and, you know, whatever else is going, some other horse is calling off in the distance. You'll just be setting things up to sort of, not necessarily fail, but you won't succeed as much as you will, is if you've got nice, calm, quiet location to work on getting your groundwork really, really accurate. I mean, really accurate, really quiet, very soft, so that when that's really, really good, it's just terrific groundwork. At the best of times, when it comes to being in the worst of times, in an arena where snow's coming down and tarps are going and I'm making noise and stuff like that, your horse will manage. Your horse will understand all the things that you taught it in a nice calm place. So tip number 1, safety with horses, make a little space, get the boundaries figured out, do your groundwork in a safe place so that it will count when you get to a dangerous place. Okay, so that groundwork is going to define how you're going to drive, direct, lead, and make that space. So practice, practice, practice. If you watch this video you're going to see Lena crowd me, or sort of bring her shoulder in and lean in on what is the scary side, the side that has the snow that she can hear coming down off the side of the arena. And as she's going around in a circle around me, she'll go wide towards the gate, and then she'll kind of cut in when it's on the scary side, because she's trying to get away from, keep herself safe from whatever on earth that noise is, that scary, sliding, bumpy sounding, weird, foreign mystery noise to her. So that groundwork, the groundwork's really going to count there. You're really going to have to impart upon your horse that coming in and asking you to get out of the way so that they can get out of the way isn't an option. Otherwise, you get yourself run over, and you know, it happens. It's happened to me. I've been run over a few times, and it's pretty scary. It hurts, but it sort of reminds you that, whoops, I didn't set those boundaries up properly before I had to address this. And sometimes you don't have an option. Many times, you know, you're in a situation and you think, oh, I haven't done all of the work that I need to do. Now I'm in a position of, what do I do? So live and learn sometimes, but hopefully these kinds of videos can give you a little bit of insight of maybe what you want to do. So as her shoulder leans in, or, you know, or she kind of crowds me on this side, I'm going to put more pressure on her on that side. I might move the rope faster. I might step into her so she has to yield from me, because we have that rule. If I step in, she must step out. So watch for that in this clip here. And then on the good side, the side that she's drawn away from me for, or keeps a proper circle for, I'll actually try to draw her in. All of my pressure will go away. My hand will kind of come down into neutral, and I'll sort of try to draw her a little bit. And then as she comes out of that part and goes into the scary part, and she kind of crowds me, I'll pressure her out. And in a more safer case, I would actually pressure her out a few steps and change my circle position in the arena to be more towards whatever that is. But she wasn't ready for that, and I probably would have set the situation up to fail there. So anyway, so check that clip out. Come back to this little narration if you need to, but outside of that, I think should be kind of self-explanatory, mostly if you watch what's going on. So there you go. Well, you're going to make a lot more space for her. Keep moving. Keep moving. Go, go, go. Come on. Good, calm down. The other way. Move your feet. Good girl. That's a big deal. Lena. Hold on. That's so fast. Hey. Back up. Back up. Go run. Go around. Go around. Good. The other way. The other way. Come on. The other way. Other way. Stop going in on you. Good. Okay, so for this second clip, I want to talk about sort of actively or proactively introducing something that scares your horse so that you can acclimate them to it so they'll be used to it. They might still be kind of worried or afraid, but they might be able to handle it. This next clip is going to show how I work with Lena, and I work on the walls of the arena, their fabric. So they make like a drum sound, and then the snow that's up there starts to slide off, and that's the scary part for her. In fact, hitting it is scary too. So I'll be working on that until it doesn't mean anything at all to her. But the combination of what she's already worried about, of the sliding of the snow, is a lot for her to handle. So in this clip, I lead her out, I get over there, we bang on it, she freaks out, and we finish off on something that works well. And I can't stress enough as well, when you're doing these exercises with your horses, you're freaking them out, you're worrying them, you're essentially sort of breaking their trust to bring them back. And you really just cannot pet or reassure them enough. But the only thing to consider, to pet and reassure them, you have to get close. And you might not be able to get close. You might just be able to get just a light touch and then get out. Because if you go to try to pet or touch or reassure them, the scary thing might happen, you know, if you're out and about, or at some kind of event, or you're on trails, or it's a windy day, maybe some trees are rustling around a lot, or some horses are going crazy somewhere. You might need to just be real quick about it. But other times you can be faster. But every opportunity you get to pet, reassure, give them confidence that they're okay, I'd say do it. So you'll see me do that as often as I can, as often as I feel I am able to. Even sometimes if I feel like, I could do this, but I feel like maybe you might freak out, because she actually has to let down a little, and may not be able to quite do that. And then something will surprise her more. And also the other thing to think about is she's not moving her feet anymore. So when horses stop moving their feet, they have a much higher ability to react to crazy things going on around them. So when you're working with your horse to teach them to get used to tarps, bags, boxes, weird things, strange things, whatever it is. In this case, it was the sound of the snow, and it's the banging on the wall. And what I'll do, what I consider a really good idea, and I've learned this and I've seen it and I've used it, and it's an effective method to get horses to worry or be braver or just be acclimated to something, is when you're doing it, when you've got that controlled, feared item going on, when it's shaking a tarp or a bag or whatever, you want to be able to draw them to you. So this is obviously easier to do if you're using a halter. Liberty work is very difficult to do this. And essentially you're going to, while you're doing something, they're going to freak out. And you can let them kind of cruise around a little bit, just at the end of the lead rope. They can run back and forth, and you'll let them, you just stay calm, just keep going, right? And at every opportunity, you're going to ask them, can you come in? Can you come in? And when they finally do come in, well, then you can stop. So a sign of success to this activity is that they respond to your direction, which is why I am constantly talking about doing groundwork, because that draw where you pull the lead rope, which pulls the halter, gives them pressure. They must give to that pressure, not pull away and into the pressure. They give to it and release themselves from any pressure that you're pulling on. So real key point when you're doing it, when they finally come in and they're like, okay, well, I've come in, then you can stop, pet them, reassure them, and pretty soon it's not a problem anymore. So when you are going to these things, horses are pretty darn smart. So when you're going out to these things that do scare them, whether it's a tarp on the ground or it's that wall, they're going to try to, you're going to be leading them. Maybe you drive them over there. But if you're leading them, they're going to try to cut you off, to say, no, I don't want to go over there. So again, it comes down to when you're at the best times, when it's quiet, you really want your leading work to be good. Your horse should stay in that rectangle that you've placed for them in your brain, in your sort of imagination on the ground, and they shouldn't be rushing that, nor should they be falling behind that. So some horses will balk, they won't want to go forward, they won't want to lead with you, so you have to bring them forward, and some of them will rush ahead and try to cut you off, which leads to a concept called entrainment. Horses that figure they're in the lead or want to direct will try to get you to entrain with them. So as they go stepping along with their feet, they're hoping that you'll pick the same pace sometimes. But what you really, really want is the pace that your legs and your feet are moving at for them to match that. When you have that, you have an entrained horse, which means that they're paying attention to what you're doing and they're doing what you're doing. So you want that. That's a goal. That's a goal to make. So yeah, so then finally, when you're working on this scary thing, you know, to sort of summarize it all, you're going to try to get there without them cutting you off. You lead them. Maybe you drive them up there. You do your thing. You stop once you can draw them in. You pet and reassure. You get it done. You wait till you can kind of feel them come out, and then get out. And that would be a very, very successful exercise. So that's what I do in this next clip. Check that out. Again, if it doesn't make some kind of sense, try to come back to this explanation. And that would be this next clip. So check that out. I know you're a big girl, but you're too freaky. No. No. Back to the wall. Okay, you ready? Good girl. Good girl. Ready? Here it comes. Good girl. Yes, it is just snow. It's just snow. It's just snow. Okay? Back up. Back up. It's not cool. Come on, get back over there. You need to come through. Back up. Back up. Wrong side. Now back up. Back up. Okay, final clip that I wanted to review in Lena's training. And I do this a lot and I teach this a lot, especially for situations like this where the horse is freaking out. They're worried, they're scared, they're not standing in place, they're fidgeting, they're moving around. And it's the most basic of groundwork that I think that you can do on a lead rope and a halter. And the idea being that you want to be able to make your horse go straight back and straight forward. Straight back and straight forward. And you know, a lot of horses, when they're really worried, they'll try to sort of more escape. Their nose will go one way or another when you go backwards. And they'll try to veer off rather than just go straight back. So you need to block one way or the other. But you don't need to get a lot with this exercise. But you can make a lot of progress with their mind by doing it. Also, because you're moving their feet, you're taking their attention away from something they're probably really worried about and placing it with you. And when you get really good, it's just like a little dance, you know, you just a little back and forth, back and forth, back and forth kind of idea. And the greatest thing about it, I find, is that you can do it in almost any space. I've done it in a trailer before, just a small horse trailer, where the horse is kind of getting worried and freaking out, say, hey, back up, oh, come forward. Oh, back up. Oh, come forward. And they really start to kind of get with you for that process. So I thought I would put that in as well. A really quick clip. It's not very long, but it gives a demonstration of how that becomes effective to getting the horse to be with you in a time where they'd rather not be with you. So overall, though, so check that clip out here. I'll play it just now in a second here. But overall, I think that the training session went really well. The link is in the description below for her full 1.5 hours of training in the arena. It was a big job. It was a lot of work. And I think that she came out quite well in the end. And nobody got hurt, you know, so when somebody asked, you know, what's the sign of success in a training session? Well, you know, some of the times it's just that nobody got hurt, no damage, you know, because it can be pretty scary. Riding, groundwork, you know, getting horses freaked out or something like that. You never know what could happen. And she came out of it well. I came out of it well. She's become a little bit more courageous for it. And, you know, the next time we go into that arena, she's probably going to be a lot better. Maybe not right away, but I bet she gets up to the point of being quite good much faster than she did this time around. So anyways, thanks for watching, everybody, and hopefully that makes sense. If not, of course, hit me up in the comments below, and I'll try to answer as fast as I can. On a side note, somebody asked about merchandise. We actually make, or did make a few of these jackets, but they're just for me. But I think about doing something like that. I think it's a great idea. Thanks for suggesting it. But I really enjoyed it. It was a good session today. I think I'll do more of those soon. Try to figure out when the best time to do live streams are, and we'll take it from there. So enjoy this clip, and thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. You are so worried. Yeah. Now, the thing about this kind of stuff is that it's scary, it's worrisome, it's scary for them, it's scary for you, you know, and so there's something to be said for making sure that you kind of push through these things, but very reassuringly. So this is one of the exercises that I'll do to make sure that a horse is with me. Go the other way, you're cutting over too much. Pay attention. Move your butt. Move your butt. Good. Now come with me here. So we'll just do a back and forth. Good. Okay, so we keep on going. Now we're going to go back out and do the same thing we did before.